Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review Team News reaction video ahead of tonight's Champions League playoff first leg against Club Brugge at Ibrox. Chris is in the press room at Ibrox Forest. Before we get to the team, Chris, how's it going? Have they laid on a decent spread for you?
Hey, I've not actually had a chance to go and check it out yet. Came in, caught up with a couple of people, a couple of guys that I've not seen for a long time. So we have a catch up and then jump on here to do the video. So if there's anything left by the time I'm done, I'll go and try and get something. If not, I'll send Josh down for a pie and a sandwich at half time for me. They can make themselves useful for the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, folks, without much further ado, let's get the team up on the screen. Here we go. This is how Rangers will line up tonight. So Jayden Magoma makes his debut and he starts the game after signing from Brentford on loan. The team in full: Butland in goal. Max Aarons is preferred to James Tavernier at right back. Giga, Suter and Magoma make up the back line. Rothwell, Raskin and Diamandi at the midfield. And then the forward line consists of Gassama, Antman and Danilo. On the bench for Rangers tonight: Kelly, Tavernier, Barron, Asgard, Cameron, Dowell, Egaman, Fernandez, Moore, Gentles, Curtis and Hutton. John Suter wears the captain's armband this evening. Chris, your initial thoughts on tonight's team?
I like bits of it. I like Gassama and Antman. I think we spoke a lot about Nico Raskin on the show this morning. Pleased that he gets to start. Centre-half pairing was always going to be a centre-half pairing. It's big calls at fullbacks, isn't it? We spoke about Magoma on the show first thing this morning. I thought it would be too big an occasion to throw him in for a guy who's never played at this level, doesn't have a lot of first team experience. It feels like it's a real show of faith from Russell Martin in him. So really interested to see how he gets on. Aarons over Tav, I think that's one that a lot of people will be pleased with. They'll be pleased that James Tavernier is not in the side. Aarons, I think, has not been that great so far this season. This feels like a big night for him. If he's going to produce a performance, there'll be no better time than tonight. So other parts of it, I think they all pick themselves, and I know that number 9 role is one that picks itself as well. Because again, we spoke earlier on about Egaman's situation and Desser's situation. So a couple of surprises in there. So interested to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I seen someone tweeting about an hour ago that James Tavernier's not in the starting 11, so I do wonder if the team's getting it leaked again. But there you go. Max Aarons, we've mentioned him on shows before. Chris, he's come in. He's not really set the hell of the light so far. I'll give him a bit of leeway to begin with because he was asked to play at left back. Big night for him tonight on that right-hand side. We really need to start seeing something from this lad. I want to see him really motoring up and down that flank. That's what we were told we would be getting with Max Aarons, but he's someone that's just looked a bit lost for confidence a wee bit. Like he needs a little, not a kick up the backside, but he needs something to get him going, really.
I think if you had if James Tavernier hadn't had 10 years at this club and both him and Max Aarons had come into the club this summer and you were judging them solely on performances and what they've done this season, I don't think there's an awful lot between them. I think the theory with Aarons was he'll come in, he'll be the first choice right back. He's the guy that's really going to make that position his own. His form has just not been there to justify that. I think people are happy that Tavernier is not playing because of everything that's gone on with James Tavernier over recent weeks, months, years. So I'm not convinced that Aarons, as it stands, is a huge upgrade on Tavernier. But as we just touched on there, if he could produce a performance tonight, maybe can get people inside and really give him a platform to kick on from.
Yep, we need to see more from him. Hopefully that's tonight. And obviously on the other side, we just touched on there, Magoma making his debut. I think, given that he was registered late last night to be part of the squad, I don't think it's a surprise to see him in there. Also a big night for him. But don't know what to expect, to be honest, Chris. He's played a number of games for Preston last season. This is a bit of a step up, no disrespect to them. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But he's left-sided. I think that it provides a balance over on that side. Hopefully he builds a bit of a partnership up with Jedi Gassama. I'm not too sure if they played against each other last season, but hopefully they can build a bit of a partnership up there. And in the midfield, do you think that'll with Raskin and Diamandi in front of him, or do you think we may see Raskin at the 6, Rothwell maybe pushed up?
On the left back, Josh has a piece on the site they filed this morning looking at the Makoma signing and how it kind of came about at fairly short notice, and why he was the one that Russell Martin chose to try and get in at that short notice. And a point that Josh makes in that piece, something we actually touched on the show this morning, working with the manager previously and knowing the way that he wants to play. I think that's a big tick in his tick in a box for him. He's still going to be unfamiliar, obviously, to how Rangers are playing, unfamiliar with a number of these players. But I think that prior relationship with Russell Martin is definitely a bonus for him. So really interested to see how he comes in. I don't think I've ever seen him kick a football before, so a learning curve for me and about 45,000 others here at Ibrox tonight. The midfield, I think the way we've got it shaped up there is how we'll see it. Again, we touched a bit about on Diamandi this morning, how he's not had a great start to the season, how people really need to see more from him. I think Rothwell was always going to start in that deeper role. People will be really pleased to see Nico Raskin in that squad, and you've then got the other spot. Was it Diamandi? Does Lyle Cameron deserve it after his not just his goal last time out, but I think his overall performances of late probably deserve to start. Asgard obviously on the bench. It'd been a big call, I think, to put him in, given the limited minutes that he's had, and also you think it's like Dowell and Barron that are not going to be starters tonight. So no surprise that that's the 3. Hopefully we will see Asgard at some point, because this is the kind of occasion he's been brought in to try and influence.
Yeah, what a night to make your debut for Jayden Magoma. I really hope he steps up to the plate and shows what he is all about. But like you, I've got no idea what we're going to be served up here. The front line sort of picks itself, I think, given Russell Martin's comments over the weekend that Hamza Igaman would not be starting the game. Sergio Dest is, of course, unable to make that squad and shrug off that injury that he picked up in the game away to Victoria Pilsen. So Danilo is the man that is leading the line. I've said my piece before about Danilo. I don't think he's good enough to lead the line for Rangers. The service into him has to be really good tonight. So you're looking at Antman and Gassama, who, let's be honest, we're excellent in that home leg against Pilsen. Chris, we need another similar performance from those two tonight.
If they can produce that should also bring out the best in themselves individually, and it should help Danilo bring out the best in him as well. He needs more service. He's really not had an awful lot of good service over the last few weeks. I don't think he's the first choice. Now, we spoke on the show this morning. If everyone is fit, Martin go for. I don't think Danilo would be the one, but he's the one that's available. Or Cyril Dessers isn't, and Hamza Igaman just not had enough minutes under his belt. Really stop-start opening few weeks of the season for him. He needs to get himself up to speed as quickly as possible. Well, he's doing that. Danny is the one that's got the jersey. He's the one that's got the chance tonight, and if he could go and put in a performance and get himself a goal, and speak about opportunity to do those things and play well and kick on, what an opportunity it is for Danilo as well, with the big games that Rangers have coming up. If he plays well tonight and gives himself a goal, that potentially gets him in the team for next week. Does that then potentially get him in the team for the Old Firm game as well? So it feels like a big night for Danny, and there will be no better time for him to really start to show the Rangers fans what he's got and what he can contribute this season.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. Macca says, who's on the bench? Derek, it's on the little ticker down below there, Macca, but the bench consists of Kelly, Tavernier, Barron, Asgard, Cameron, Dowell, Igaman, Fernandez, Moore, Gentles, Curtis and Hutton. So certainly plenty of options on the bench for Russell Martin to call upon as the match wears on. Billy Templeton says, who's the penalty taker? Well, with Tav off the pitch, I'm just looking at that team. I think Danilo will fancy it if Rangers are awarded a penalty. Anybody else you think they would want to step up there, Chris?
I imagine Joe Rothwell would be in that particular runner as well, given his other case set piece. I was going to say specialities, but I've not really seen a whole lot of it so far this season. But I think Rothwell would certainly be throwing his name in there. But fingers crossed, Rangers do have that opportunity. All chances to score would be most welcome.
Yeah, yes, most definitely. Let's hope we hear those lovely words, penalty to Rangers tonight. That would do nicely. So interestingly, there's a point coming in as well. What's it, 19 says, I've got a cheeky tenner on Admin to score first at 11-1. That's pretty good odds, I think, for Oliver Admin to get on the score sheet tonight. Certainly impressed in that home match against Pilsen. Let's hope for a similar display tonight. Interestingly, on the midfield, we've discussed Diamandi on a show before, Chris, and how he hasn't had the best of starts to the season. Like I said, we could have done with Cameron's energy ahead of Dio. Surprised to see Diamandi in there or not, given that he tends to do pretty well in European games. He wasn't his best away to Pilsen, but more often than not, his ball retention and his ability to pass the ball and get out of tight spaces in European matches can be key in these games.
These are the matches and the occasions that do seem to bring out the best in Diamandi. I think we've seen him go missing and be posted missing for large spells of domestic campaigns. Certainly, this type of game should suit him. He really needs a performance. He really needs to contribute tonight. It's a night where the Rangers can't afford to carry passengers. This is a big step up from what they have played previously in this competition, and we know, having watched the last 4 games, that they've not always been entirely comfortable and convincing in those 4 matches either. So it's a real step up for Rangers. Everyone has to be at it. Everyone has to play their part, and I think there will be a wee bit of focus on Diamandi. Russell Martin seems to like him, seems to really value him. It's obviously been the other side of that too that has been the one that's been shifted. I think if Diamandi has another off night and doesn't contribute tonight, I think we will then see a bit more focus on his position and on his form. So you can say it's a big night for every individual player, but it clearly is. When you get to this stage of competition, what's on the line, what's at stake in football and financial terms, we don't need to overhype this one. The whole occasion speaks for itself.
Yeah, absolutely huge. I'll give you the rundown of the Bruges team, folks, and I've got no idea how the formation here, but I'll just run through the names. Mignolet in goals, Solis, who's a quality player, subject of a bit of interest in him. Carlos Forbes, summer signing from Ajax, and then they got Onyedika, Vermaat, Vanaken as a captain, Stankovic, Mekele, Spilliers, Saba, and Says is how they line up. Probably butchered the whole number of those guys, but there you go. If there's any Bruges fans listening, I do apologise. But what are you expecting tonight, Chris? When we come back on for our full-time reaction, do you think we'll be reporting on a really good Rangers display and they're taking something over to Belgium?
That's the most difficult question you've asked me in our 2 shows today so far, Derek. It's so hard to tell. We know that this Rangers side has to really step it up. Are they capable of it? Yes. Could they win the game tonight? Yes. I think the most important thing is to give themselves a shot heading into that second leg. You can't win the tie tonight. They could certainly lose it. They could certainly find themselves on the end of a result that makes it really, really difficult for them next week. So hopefully that's not the case. Russell Martin spoke yesterday about the importance of the Ibrox factor and the fans getting behind them, and the players and the staff and everyone round about this football club enjoying themselves and kind of rising to that occasion. If they can do that, Rangers are capable of getting a result. Whether they're going to win the game or not, I think we'll be able to tell fairly early on. Like to get a look at Bruges and see what they've got about it. But if you ask me, can Rangers get a result? Yes. Will they? I think I might just sit on the fence and I'll go for a 1-1 on the night. Okay.
Richard Cullen, I think, is on the shandies a bit early. He says 4-1 to Rangers tonight. I want some of what you're drinking, Richard, but if that comes off, we'll get you on the show. How about that? Thomas says, I'd love a full rousing performance and results. Seen it so many times in Europe. Come on, Gers. Yep, absolutely. That's what gives me a bit of belief, and certainly speaking to the Bruges podcaster last night as well, they're in a bit of transition. So I think Rangers well capable of getting a positive result tonight. And Hammy says, give me a Scot in this big screamer tonight. You absolutely would love that. But match coming up, 8 p.m. kickoff, folks. If you're not heading along to Ibrox, it's on Amazon Prime. And then on the full-time whistle, shortly after that, I'll be joined by Chris once again on the gantry to discuss what we have witnessed. Right, I hope your team wins. Enjoy the game, folks, and we'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.